All right, now I'm pretty sure you all have seen this statement by the union by now. A response from the WNBA. I just want y'all to take a look at the length of the response, okay? This is what came out first. This is what the WNBA said. This is what they said, fam. Oh my goodness, man. Literally said, hey man, here you go. We done. All right, this is what they put out.
That visual says everything you need to know about where we are right now. The WNBA Players Union just staged what they're calling a symbolic labor protest outside the NBA store in New York. Their weapon of choice? An inflatable rat with a sign that literally says, "Get it together." And the league's response was even more brutal than the stunt itself. We're watching a collective bargaining negotiation collapse in real time. And what's shocking isn't just that the deadline passed on January 31st without a deal. It's how spectacularly the players are losing the public relations battle they thought they were winning.
Hey man, I don't mean to laugh at this entire situation, but at this point you have to, man. You literally have to laugh at this situation at this point, man. It's ridiculous what's going on, man. It's ridiculous. Just imagine you sent out this very thoughtful message about your relationship with your significant other, and then they say, okay. Now, I'm gonna save you guys the time of reading this entire thing. I just want y'all to pay attention to this top, okay? They were talking about how the collective bargaining agreement had expired despite demonstrating how...
Look at that contrast. The Players Union released this lengthy, carefully worded statement about how the WNBA and its teams failed to meet us at the table with the same spirit and seriousness. They're talking about respect, about being taken seriously as professionals. And then the league responds with basically a corporate, okay, thanks. 3 sentences. That's it. It's the negotiating equivalent of leaving someone on read. But here's what makes this fascinating. The internet didn't rally behind the players like the union expected. Instead, social media erupted with mockery. Comments like, "An inflatable rat? This is your power move?" started flooding in within minutes. The optics couldn't be worse. You've got Nafisa Collier, who just months ago was being praised as one of the smartest minds in women's basketball, now associated with a protest tactic that looks like it was planned by a college activist group. Breanna Stewart, arguably the face of the league alongside Caitlin Clark, is part of a union leadership that just compared their employers to vermin while simultaneously demanding those same employers pay them significantly more money.
Statement once again, right? And from my understanding from both sides, they're going to keep up with the status quo, basically saying they're going to keep negotiating the CBA, although the deadline is over with. They're going to have some type of moratorium proposal where they can at least try to start to get ready for the 2026 season if they have one. Now, what's crazy about that statement is all you can really do is say, hey, we're interested. Wait for the CBA to be done. Like, I don't know what else you can do, man. This is such a mess. You can't have the draft, right? You can't have the draft happen. You can't, and that's the expansion draft and the other draft. You can't have either one of those happening. You can't have anybody trading. You can't have anybody signing any deals. You can't do anything. You're at a standstill without this CBA being negotiated.
And this is where it gets complicated, because the substance of what the players want isn't unreasonable on paper. They're asking for revenue sharing, which exists in every major professional sports league. The NBA players get approximately 50% of basketball-related income. NFL players get 48%. Even MLS players, in a league that's still building its financial foundation, have a revenue-sharing model. The WNBA players currently operate under a system where salaries are predetermined caps rather than tied to league revenue growth. But wanting something reasonable and negotiating for it effectively are two completely different skills. And right now, we're watching a masterclass in how not to conduct labor negotiations in the court of public opinion. The minimum salary jumped from roughly $75,000 to over $200,000 in the league's latest offer. The maximum went from around $230,000 to $1.3 million. Those are massive increases, the kind of jumps that would make players in most professional leagues celebrate and sign immediately.
What else can you do, man? It's such a mess right now. And the thing is, most players wait until certain players that played their position get signed for X amount of dollars so they can kind of have a clear understanding of where they stand at with their salary. They want to, see what's going on over here so I could possibly ask for this and say, man, I'm better than this player, so y'all should be able to give me this, right? Now, like I stated before, there are a lot of issues that comes with not signing in CBA, right? But Ramona Shelburne ended up bringing up something major that I almost forgot about. I want to read this to y'all, man. She ended up stating, while it doesn't seem like there are any immediate consequences to another formal or informal extent.
Here's what the union isn't saying publicly. They rejected those offers multiple times, and each time they rejected them, they didn't just say no. They essentially said, not good enough, try again, which is a valid negotiating tactic when you have leverage. But do they actually have leverage right now? That's the question nobody in the union leadership seems to want to address honestly. The leverage in labor negotiations comes from your ability to hurt the other side more than they can hurt you. In 2020, when the previous CBA was negotiated, the WNBA was hemorrhaging money and desperately needed the players to agree to terms that would allow the league to continue operating. The players had leverage then. But 2025 is a completely different landscape. The league just came off a season where Caitlin Clark's arrival drove television ratings up by over 300% for games she played in. Attendance records were shattered across the league. Merchandise sales exploded. Corporate sponsorship deals that were unthinkable 3 years ago are now reality.
And arenas start to give dates away to other events. Now, when I finished reading this, the main team that I thought of was my beloved Atlanta Dream. Y'all know I'm in Georgia, so I have to go for them. Just a tad bit, all right? I have to go for them a tad bit. But we remember exactly what came out about moving that Indiana Fever game to State Farm Arena, and that was a conflict of scheduling, right? So if you had a conflict of scheduling when you had all this time to actually schedule these games, just imagine the headache and the chaos that you all are going to have having this small window frame to schedule all these games, fam. All right, and I'm not just talking about moving the Indiana Fever games to bigger arenas so y'all can capitalize the most. I'm talking about all these arenas, fam. The small arenas, the big arenas. I mean, all these arenas get scheduled for something else. Whether that's concerts, whether that's comedian shows, whatever, stand-up shows, whatever it is, man. These arenas get scheduled for all these other things.
And this is the part that's making fans increasingly frustrated with the union's approach. Ramona Shelburne, one of the most respected basketball journalists in the country, just reported something that should terrify everyone involved in these negotiations. She wrote, "I'm starting to hear increasing concerns about how this delay could affect scheduling next year. In other words, if there's no CBA, there's no schedule, and arenas start to give dates away to other events. Think about what that means practically. The Atlanta Dream already had issues last season, with scheduling conflicts that forced them to move a Caitlin Clark game because State Farm Arena was booked for something else. That was with a full year of advanced planning. Now imagine trying to schedule an entire season with only weeks or months of lead time. Every arena in the WNBA is a multi-purpose venue. They host NBA games, NHL games, concerts, conventions, college basketball tournaments, Disney on Ice, monster truck rallies. These venues book events 12 to 18 months in advance. The Minnesota Lynx play in Target Center, which also hosts the Timberwolves and major concerts. The New York Liberty play in Barclays Center, one of the busiest arenas in the world. The Las Vegas Aces play in Michelob Ultra Arena, which is inside a casino complex with its own scheduling nightmares. If the CBA doesn't get finalized soon, teams won't just struggle to schedule games. They'll struggle to schedule games at times when people can actually attend. You could end up with the Indiana Fever, the team everyone wants to see because of Caitlin Clark, playing Tuesday afternoon games because that's the only arena availability left.
People are gonna have such a hard time scheduling these games, fam. This is something that Nafisa Collier was not thinking about when she said, well, we're running Unrivaled this way, so y'all should be able to run the W this way. Well, this is a part of that other side of the fence that you don't necessarily see, fam. All right, this is the part of that business side that you don't be seeing when it comes to Unrivaled. You know, y'all are in one arena, nobody is traveling. You have all these things to worry about when it comes to the WNBA, man. It's just crazy to compare responsibilities for Unrivaled to the WNBA. It's just completely in two different worlds, man. Let's say the CBA doesn't get done until March. Oh my goodness, can y'all imagine the chaos? I stated in one of my videos before, we're gonna need Noah's Ark to survive the flood of news that's gonna come in once the CBA is finished. Man, I mean, we're gonna have news left and right. Y'all probably gonna be tired of us YouTubers, fam. When the news is getting dropped. Now, I did see something all.
But it gets worse. Without a CBA, there's no draft. Not just the regular draft, where college players enter the league, but also the expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries, who are supposed to begin play in 20. The Valkyries have already sold thousands of season tickets. They've hired a full front office staff. They've invested millions in building out their practice facility and operations infrastructure. And right now, they can't do anything. They can't officially sign their general manager to a long-term deal. They can't negotiate with free agents. They can't participate in trades. They're a franchise in limbo, losing money every day while the union stages photo ops with inflatable rats. Free agency is frozen. Players who would normally be negotiating contracts right now, using the market to establish their value, can't do anything. Role players who need to see what the stars in their position are getting paid before they negotiate their own deals are stuck waiting. Teams that want to make trades to build around their core players can't make moves. The entire league is in suspended animation because the two sides can't reach an agreement. And here's the thing that's really frustrating fans. Most players aren't publicly supporting the union's hardline approach. You're not seeing a wave of social media posts from rank-and-file players saying stand strong, don't cave. What you're seeing is silence, which suggests that a lot of players look at the offer on the table, an offer that would more than triple some salaries, and think maybe we should take this and negotiate again in a few years when we have more leverage.
But, man, they need to get this done, fam. Honestly, the last thing you guys want to do is add any more negative impact to you guys' income, all right? Y'all are waiting so late to get the CBA done, like Ramona brought up. It's hard to schedule these games. And we know a lot of the teams do understand that Caitlin Clark has this crazy wave that they could capitalize off of, and they want to move those games to bigger arenas. It makes a lot of sense. It's a great business mindset to have, right, when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And y'all are making that tougher to do. We know that they have been struggling to make a profit, all right? They can make revenue, but they are not making profit. You can always...
Now we've got the younger players starting to throw shade at the veterans who are leading these negotiations. Rika Jackson, playing in Unrivaled, made comments that can only be interpreted as a shot at the older generation of players. She's talking about being young with money, young and fun, while the veterans are stuck in CBA negotiations that are making everyone look out of touch. It's subtle, but it's there. The generational divide in the WNBA is real, and it's starting to show in ways that could fracture the union's solidarity. Because here's what the younger players see. They watch Caitlin Clark drive unprecedented interest in the league. They see sold-out arenas and national television coverage. They see their own social media followings explode because of the rising tide that Clark's popularity created. And then they watch the union, led primarily by veterans who played in obscurity for years, potentially jeopardize all of that momentum over demands that might not be realistic, given the league's actual financial situation.
On the line, let's just get this one done and then see what you can get next time. Y'all went from, what was the lowest, 60,000? 70,000? Y'all went from 70,000 to $250,000 as a minimum? Come on, man. Y'all went from 200,000, what was it, 200, maybe 50,000 as a max to 1.3 million. Yo, that's a huge increase, man. You know, take your dub where you can, fam. And then maybe down the line, y'all can figure something out to get that pie when it comes to the revenue. Y'all can get that pie to start favoring the W more. But anyway, to finish off the video, man, we have Rickea Jackson throwing shade at the veterans, man. What is going on here? After Breeze ended up winning another game last night in Unrivaled. Shout out to my Breeze, all right? Yeah, Rickea Jackson throwing shots. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
Hell youngins. That's it. We're not nobody's kids, daughters, nieces. Y'all not sunning us. We young and turn, young with money, young and fun, all that. Y'all want to be us. They keep calling us kids, but ain't it more embarrassing to get beat by kids?
Oh, man. Now, she could be playing, I don't know, but shots fired, man. Shots fired at the veterans, man. Y'all better respond. You got 24 hours to respond. I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about everything that's going on with the WNBA and the CBA negotiation. I know it's an exhausting thing to talk about, but I had to update you guys after the deadline has been passed. Let me know in the comment section. I love y'all. Y'all keep it smooth.
Let's talk about the revenue sharing demand specifically, because this is where the union's argument falls apart under scrutiny. Yes, the NBA has revenue sharing, but the NBA is also profitable. The WNBA, according to every credible financial analysis, still operates at a loss. The league is subsidized by the NBA to the tune of tens of millions of dollars annually. When you're asking for a percentage of revenue while the league is losing money, you're essentially asking the owners to lose even more money, with the promise that eventually, someday, the league will become profitable, and then everyone wins. That's not an unreasonable ask if you're negotiating from a position where the owners desperately need you. But the owners don't desperately need the players right now. The league has momentum. Interest is at an all-time high. The 2025 draft class is strong. If the current players decided to sit out a season, the owners could theoretically weather that storm better than the players could weather a season without paychecks. That's not a moral judgment, it's just the reality of leverage in labor negotiations. And the players have to know this. Nafisa Collier is genuinely smart. Breanna Stewart has been in big negotiations before. Nneka Ogwumike, another union leader, has an MBA from Stanford. These aren't people who don't understand business, which makes their public strategy even more baffling. Why stage a protest that makes you look unserious when you're demanding to be taken seriously? Why compare your employers to rats when you need those employers to voluntarily agree to pay you more? Why let the January 31st deadline pass without a deal when every day of delay creates more problem? The only explanation that makes sense is that the union leadership genuinely believed the public would rally behind them. They thought fans would see the inflatable rat and think, yeah, stick it to the owners. They thought the narrative would be greedy billionaires refusing to pay women fairly. Instead, the narrative became delusional players who don't understand business rejecting generous offers while staging embarrassing publicity stunts. So here's where we are as of right now. The CBA expired on January 31st. Both sides say they'll continue negotiating, but there's no deadline, no urgency, no consequences for dragging this out. The league issued a statement about a moratorium proposal that would allow teams to at least begin preparing for a potential 2026 season, but that's not a solution, it's a band-aid. Meanwhile, every day that passes makes the scheduling nightmare worse. Every day that passes gives arenas more reason to book other events instead of holding dates for a league that might not have its act together. And the players are discovering something that every labor union eventually learns. Public sympathy is finite. You can be right about your demands and still lose the PR battle if you handle it poorly. The WNBA players are finding out that being underpaid relative to the value you create doesn't automatically mean the public will support you holding out for more when you're already being offered life-changing money. Think about it from a fan's perspective. The average WNBA fan probably makes $50,000 or $60,000 a year. They're being asked to sympathize with players who are turning down offers that would pay them $200,000 minimum, over $1 million maximum, to play basketball for 4 months. Yes, those players generate more value than they're being paid. Yes, the owners are billionaires who could afford to pay more. But when you're asking working-class fans to support your labor action, staging a protest with an inflatable rat while demanding a percentage of revenue from a league that doesn't make profit, is a tough sell. The union's biggest mistake was assuming that the momentum from the 2024 season would translate into leverage in CBA negotiations. But momentum in popularity doesn't automatically equal leverage in labor negotiations. Leverage comes from your ability to inflict pain on the other side. And right now, the players' ability to hurt the owners is limited. If there's no 2026 season, the owners lose money. But the players lose their entire income. The owners have other businesses, other investments, other revenue streams. Most WNBA players don't. Caitlin Clark could sit out a season and make more money from endorsements than she'd make playing, but most players can't. Most players need the WNBA salary, even if it's not as much as they deserve. And the union leadership seems to have forgotten that when they decided to play hardball. Here's what probably happens next. The negotiations drag on for another few weeks or months. The union slowly realizes they don't have the leverage they thought they had. They accept something close to the league's current offer, maybe with some minor concessions that let them claim victory. Everyone pretends it was a fair negotiation, and then in 3 or 4 years, when the league is hopefully more profitable, they renegotiate again with actual leverage. But the damage from this negotiation will linger. The inflatable rat will become a meme that follows these players for years. The image of the union demanding to be taken seriously while staging what looked like a college protest will be hard to shake. And most importantly, the goodwill that the players built up during the 2024 season, the sense that the WNBA was finally breaking through and deserved more support, has been partially squandered by a negotiating strategy that made them look out of touch with reality. The saddest part is that the players have legitimate grievances. They do deserve a larger share of the revenue they generate, they do deserve better travel conditions, better facilities, better everything. But you don't get what you deserve in negotiations by demanding it while holding an inflatable rat. You get it by building leverage, by making yourself indispensable, by making the cost of not giving you what you want higher than the cost of giving it to you. And right now, the WNBA players haven't done that. They've shown that the league can function without them for a while. They've shown that public opinion can turn against them quickly. They've shown that their union leadership might not be as savvy as everyone thought. None of that helps them get a better deal. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: if you were a WNBA player right now, would you be confident in your union leadership? Would you want to risk your income, your career momentum, your financial security on a negotiating strategy that's already backfired publicly? Or would you be one of the players quietly hoping the leadership accepts the current offer so everyone can move on? Because I guarantee you there are players having that exact conversation right now, wondering if the fight is worth what they're losing. Let me know what you think in the comments.